school because it's the Silk Festival, and the Silk Festival is in front of my school, so that's why we've closed. And my teacher told me to read this book, Jane Eyre, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit of the story, like what happened, something like that. And if you're like wondering like how did it go from, if you're a little bit if you don't really know what I'm talking about, I'll tell you only a little bit of the story because it'll take probably 2 to 3 hours to tell you all the story. And so yeah, I think I'm gonna start reading this. I'm gonna start telling this to you. So Jane Eyre is a young girl who has no parents, no money, and not beautiful, like almost ugly to be honest. And so she lived with her cousins, like the Reeds, but then they told her that she was very like mean and wicked kid. So yeah, she got punished a lot. But then eventually she was brought to a charity school called Lowood. She was brought to a charity school called Lowood, and then she was treated very badly there also, and she made a friend called Bessie, but then she died from a typhus fever, if I remember that correctly. Then she studied there for 8 years, and then she advertised herself to be a governess at a house. Then one person accepted it, and then she went there. She went to Thornfield, which was the place where she was a governess and taught a young kid. Then she met Mr. Chester, the first time she met him was when he fell off a horse and Jane Eyre helped him. And then she was like a very close friend with Mr. Chester. Then they were like good friends. And then Mr. Chester asked Jane Eyre to marry him. Jane Eyre said yes, but on the wedding day, Jane Eyre had found out that Mr. Chester was already married with another girl called Bertha Masson, which is a really mad girl. He was tricked to marry her, and then he kept Bertha Masson in the Thornfield Hall and was guarded by a servant called Gracepool. So Jane Eyre was very sad. She left the Thornfield Hall and went to other places. But when she left Thornfield, she met her cousins. She had a really happy time with them on Christmas. But then she became a teacher at a school called I don't remember the school name. Then she became a teacher at a school, but she's only been a teacher for not a long period of time, like very long. And then she came back to Thornfield and then found out that it was completely burnt and there was nothing left. And then she found out that the house was caught on fire because Mr. Chester, when Jane Eyre left him, he was almost going to be mad, and Bertha Masson, Mr. Chester's wife, knew and felt jealous of her, and then just the house caught on fire because of her. And Mr. Chester helped the servant to get out of the house, and then Bertha jumped out of the window and she died. Mr. Chester went to help her, so that's why he lost one of his hands and became blind. She found out also that he went to live in another house, like about 30 miles away. So when she met him, he only lived with 2 servants, and when Jane Eyre went to see him, he didn't know who she was because he was completely blind. When he knew that it was Jane Eyre, he asked Jane Eyre to marry him again. And then at the end, Jane Eyre and Mr. Rochester marry. That's it. And I think that you should read this story because of no reason. I mean, when I read this story, I almost cried, to be honest. Like, I almost cried reading it. Because, like, you know, I've read this somewhere before, but I don't know when did I read it. But yeah, I've read before. So I read this one, and that's pretty much all about it. Tomorrow's back to school, and I'll see you next time.